Have you ever noticed how life changes after you turn 60? Something beautiful happens. The world slows down just enough for us to truly see what matters. The morning sunshine streaming through your window. The sound of your grandchild's laughter. The comfort of not having to rush anywhere. These moments, they become everything. You see, we're no longer building for some distant future. We're living it right now. And every choice we make, especially about our time, our energy, and yes, our money, feels more important than ever before. But here's something I've learned in my journey. Sometimes we hold on to habits from our younger years that don't serve us anymore. Habits that quietly drain our savings. Habits that steal our peace of mind. Habits that make these golden years heavier than they should be. Today, I want to talk with you, friend to friend, about those spending traps that can sneak into our lives after 60. Not to judge or criticize. Goodness knows I've fallen into plenty of them myself, but to gently invite you to take a fresh look at your choices. Because you deserve a life that feels light, free, and truly yours. If any of these stories sound familiar, I want you to know something important. You are not alone. Every wise person I know is still learning, still growing, still figuring things out. And that's something to be proud of, isn't it? So settle in, maybe pour yourself a nice cup of tea, and let's have a heart-to-heart about the small choices that can quietly change everything. 1. The illusion of designer labels. Let me start with something many of us have fallen for at some point. Those expensive brand-name clothes hanging in our closets. For decades, many of us believed that elegance was something we wore. That somehow, a famous label meant we were worth more, respected more, seen more clearly. We bought those fancy blouses, designer handbags, and expensive shoes. For a while it made sense in the office, at social gatherings, even at family get-togethers. Looking polished helped us feel strong. Let me tell you about my friend Helen. She's 68 and lives in a peaceful neighborhood in Pennsylvania. Helen used to love fashion, Chanel, Coach, Nordstrom. These brands filled every inch of her closet. Each morning, she'd carefully select just the right outfit, matching earrings and scarves, making sure everything was perfect. But something changed after she retired. One morning, Helen stood in front of her packed closet and asked herself, "Who am I getting dressed for now?" Her days had become gentler, simpler. She was baking cookies with her grandchildren, tending to her garden, volunteering at the local library. None of those precious moments cared if she wore $300 shoes. What they wanted was her presence, her warmth, her comfort. These days, Helen still dresses beautifully, but her favorite clothes are simple, wholesome, and easy to move in. She told me, "The best thing I wear now is my smile." And she means every word. Here's the truth I've come to understand. Real elegance comes from within. It's in how you make others feel when they're near you. It's in your voice when you share a story. It's in how your eyes light up when your grandchild walks through the door. You don't need designer labels to be worthy. You already are. So the next time you feel pulled towards something flashy or expensive, just pause for a moment. Ask yourself if it adds joy or just cost. You might be surprised how much lighter you feel when you choose comfort, confidence, and being yourself over status. 2. The pressure to upgrade technology. Now let's talk about something that sneaks up on all of us these days. The constant pressure to upgrade our technology. Phones, tablets, smartwatches. New models appear every year, promising faster speeds, better cameras, and features we're told we simply can't live without. It's mighty tempting, isn't it? Those advertisements are everywhere. They make it sound like we're missing out on something important if we don't keep up with the latest gadget. Let me share Ruth's story with you. She's 72 and lives in Oregon. Ruth has always been independent and good with technology. When that new phone came out, the one with the fancy camera and titanium body, she thought, why not treat myself? So she spent over $1,000 on a phone she hoped would make life easier. But it didn't. Instead, it made her feel frustrated and overwhelmed. The buttons were different. The menus were confusing. She missed calls because she didn't even know they had come in. And after all that money and stress, all she really wanted was to FaceTime her daughter and see pictures of her new great-grandbaby. Her old phone could have done that just fine. You see, technology is supposed to serve us, not stress us out. And here's something I've learned over the years. Newer doesn't always mean better, especially when the device you already own is still working well and doing exactly what you need it to do. Ruth eventually returned that new phone, and went back to her old one. Now she feels more in control, more at peace. She uses her phone to connect with loved ones, not to chase endless updates. If you find yourself feeling pressured to upgrade, take a step back. Ask yourself, what do I actually use this device for? If it still works and meets your needs, let that be enough. You're not behind the times. You're wise. And wisdom means knowing the difference between what you want and what you truly need. 3. The weight of credit card interest. Let's talk about something that often goes unnoticed, but can quietly weigh on both your heart and your bank account: credit card interest. For many of us, credit cards started as a simple convenience. A dinner here, a gift there, a quick fix for a car repair. But over time, that balance can build up, and before you know it, you're paying hundreds, even thousands of dollars just in interest. Not on things you're enjoying today, but on purchases that are long gone. Joanne, a 70-year-old widow from Florida, knows this feeling all too well. She spent most of her life being careful with money. But after her husband passed away, she started using her credit card more often. A little online shopping to distract from the loneliness. Sending gifts to her grandkids. Fixing up the house. Nothing extravagant, mind you, but it all added up. One day, Joanne sat down to review her finances and discovered something that made her stomach sink. She had paid over $9,000 in interest in just 2 years. Her heart broke thinking about what that money could have done instead. Helped with medical bills, home repairs, or even a well-deserved trip with her sister. But Joanne didn't let guilt take over. She got to work. She called her bank, set up a payment plan, and started making small, consistent payments. She sold a few things she no longer needed. And most importantly, she forgave herself. Because learning is part of living, no matter our age. You see, debt isn't just a number. It's a feeling. It can keep you up at night. It can make you feel stuck, anxious, even ashamed. But it doesn't have to define your story. You are not alone. So many of us carry this quiet burden, thinking we have to fix everything by ourselves. But there is help. There are tools. And there is always a way forward. The less you owe, the lighter you feel. And the lighter you feel, the more joy you can carry. You deserve that joy, friend. And you can have it. 4. The silent drain of unused subscriptions. There's a quiet little trick that companies use these days. They count on us forgetting. They count on us signing up for something, maybe during a free trial or on a whim, and then never remembering to cancel it. Over time, these tiny charges, $9 here, $15 there, slowly drain our accounts without us even noticing. Margaret, age 66 from Texas, knows exactly how this happens. During the pandemic, she signed up for every streaming service under the sun: Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, even a few fitness apps. At the time, it felt comforting. Having all those options felt like control, like she was doing something good for herself during a difficult period. But months later, Margaret noticed something interesting. She was watching the same 2 shows, reruns of her favorite old mysteries and a weekly cooking program. Both were actually available for free on regular TV or online. The rest of those services? She was paying for them, but never opening the apps. Margaret did the math and was shocked to discover she was spending over $90 a month. That's more than $1,000 a year, just on subscriptions she barely used. That realization hit her hard. She thought about what else she could have done with that money. A weekend trip with her sister, extra savings for emergencies, or even just a few nice dinners out. But here's the good news. It's never too late to take back control. Margaret went through her statements, made a list of every subscription she had, and canceled all but one. Now she rotates her services, using only 1 or 2 each month depending on what she really enjoys. She also discovered something wonderful. Her local library card gave her free access to thousands of movies and documentaries through an app called Canopy. No fees, no hidden charges, just stories that made her laugh, cry, and think. You see, we're constantly told we need more to feel entertained. But the truth is, less can be so much more. When you're not overwhelmed by choices, you can actually enjoy the ones you make. So if you haven't looked at your subscriptions lately, now might be a good time. You might find yourself breathing a little easier when you do, not just because of the money saved, but because you're choosing what really matters to you. 5. The cost of chasing the jackpot. Every Wednesday and Saturday night, A quiet hope rises in millions of homes across the country. Numbers are picked. Tickets are held close. And for a moment, it feels like anything is possible. But let's be honest with ourselves. Lottery tickets are not a retirement plan. They're a dream we keep paying for long after we've forgotten how much it truly costs. Dolores, age 65 from Ohio, used to play Powerball every single week. It was just a few dollars here and there, $10 on payday, sometimes $20 if the jackpot was especially big. For her, it wasn't even really about the money. It was about possibility. She imagined paying off her mortgage, helping her children, traveling the world. And every time she lost, she told herself, maybe next time. But after 5 years of playing faithfully, Dolores did something she had never done before. She added up all the tickets she had purchased. The total shocked her to her core, over $5,000. And that wasn't even counting scratch-offs or the extra tickets she bought when jackpots grew large. $5,000 gone. And what did she have to show for it? A small collection of losing stubs and a heavy heart full of regret. She realized that she had been buying hope, but it was a hope that never delivered. So she made a new decision. Instead of chasing luck, she would build something real. Now every week, instead of spending $10 on lottery tickets, she transfers that amount into a special savings jar labeled Future Joy. She's used it to take a pottery class, to join a local day trip with friends, and to buy small, meaningful gifts for her grandchildren. Things that bring her immediate joy, not empty promises. Here's the truth no one tells us. We are already rich in the ways that count. In love, in wisdom, in experience. That's the kind of wealth no ticket can give and no number can match. If you're still buying tickets regularly, I invite you to pause. Ask yourself, what do I really want from this? Is there another way to bring that dream to life without waiting on a jackpot that may never come? Because the life you want isn't one. It's built, one small, wise choice at a time. 6. The true cost of food delivery convenience. There's something undeniably easy about food delivery these days. A few taps on a screen, and dinner arrives at your door. No dishes, no prep, no effort, just convenience. But over time, that convenience comes with a cost, not just financial, but emotional, physical, and personal. Linda, a 63-year-old from California, found herself relying on delivery more and more after her husband passed away. At first, it was a relief. Cooking for one felt lonely, and it was easier to let someone else handle it. She would order takeout for, sometimes 5 times a week, Thai food, burgers, pasta, whatever sounded good in the moment. But a year later, during a routine checkup, her doctor told her something that startled her. Her blood pressure was rising. Her weight had crept up. And worst of all, she felt tired, not just physically but deep down in her spirit. So Linda sat down and reviewed her spending. She had spent more than $3,000 in a year, not on gourmet meals, but on food that was high in sodium, low in nutrients, and eaten alone in front of a television. That was her wake-up call. So she made a promise to herself, 3 home-cooked meals a week. Nothing fancy, just real food prepared with care. Soup, roasted vegetables, grilled chicken, things her body recognized, things her heart remembered from simpler times. And something beautiful happened. She began to enjoy the process. The smell of garlic and olive oil sizzling in the pan. The rhythm of chopping onions. The quiet pride of setting a table for herself, not because anyone was watching, but because she mattered. She started inviting her neighbor over once a week for lunch. They shared stories, recipes, laughter. Her health improved. So did her spirit. Now delivery has its place. Of course there's nothing wrong with convenience now and then. But when it becomes our normal way of life, we lose something deeper. The connection to what truly nourishes us inside and out. Cooking isn't just about food. It's about love, rhythm, memory. It's about saying to yourself, I am worth the effort. And friend, you are. Always. 7. The guilt of unused exercise equipment. We all start with the best intentions, don't we? A new year. A birthday resolution. A little voice inside saying, this time I'll really do it. So we buy the equipment, the fancy treadmill, the shiny weights, the exercise bike that costs more than our first car. We imagine ourselves stronger, healthier, glowing with energy. But then life happens. Let me tell you about Nancy. She's 69 and lives in a quiet cul-de-sac in Georgia. Last spring, she bought a top-of-the-line elliptical machine. It looked beautiful in her living room, full of promise. For 2 weeks, she used it daily. And then, like so many of us, she got busy. A family visit, a sore knee, a change in schedule. The elliptical sat there untouched. Then came the guilt. Every time she passed it, she felt a little nudge of shame. Not just for the money spent, but for what she thought it said about her, that she gave up, that she failed. But Nancy isn't alone. So many of us buy into the idea that expensive equipment is the key to lasting change. And when we don't use it, we blame ourselves. Here's the truth I've learned. It's not about the machine. It never was. Your body doesn't need $2,000 worth of metal to be strong. What it needs is movement. Joyful, consistent, loving movement. A walk around the block. Gentle stretching on the porch. Dancing in the kitchen to your favorite oldies. So Nancy gave herself permission to let go. She sold the elliptical to a neighbor who really wanted it. Then she joined a local walking group that meets twice a week at the park. No pressure, no equipment, just women, comfortable shoes, and fresh air. And you know what? She's happier. She moves more. She sleeps better. Not because she spent money, but because she made space for habits that feel good in her body and her life. If you have a piece of equipment collecting dust in your home, let me say this gently. You don't need to feel bad. You're not lazy. You're human. And you deserve movement that fits your life, not guilt that takes up space in your living room. 8. The empty promise of overpriced courses. There's something mighty tempting about personal growth courses these days. They promise to help you discover your purpose, to unlock happiness, to finally find that missing piece. And sometimes those courses are beautiful, helpful, and worth every penny. But other times they're just expensive. Barbara, age 71 from Minnesota, knows this story well. After retiring from a long career in nursing, she felt a strange silence in her life. The structure was gone. The sense of purpose she once had, waking up, helping people, making a difference, had faded. So when she saw an online ad for a coaching program that promised to rediscover your inner fire, she signed up right away. It cost over $4,000. But she told herself, this will be worth it. For months, she attended Zoom calls, filled out worksheets, joined online forums. And while some of it felt inspiring, something always felt a little off. When the course finally ended, Barbara looked through all her notes and realized something important. The answers they gave her were things she already knew. The lessons were things she had lived through and survived decades ago. That was her light bulb moment. She didn't need to pay someone to tell her who she was. She already knew. Barbara stopped searching outward and started turning inward. She joined a book club at her local library. She volunteered at a women's shelter once a week. She began mentoring a younger woman who had just lost her mother. And that was when she felt her purpose return. Not because someone sold it to her, but because she gave it freely. You see, the richest growth doesn't come from big price tags. It comes from connection, from contribution, from listening to our own wisdom and sharing it with others. If you're feeling lost or uncertain about your purpose, remember this. You don't need fixing. You're not broken. You're evolving. And that process takes time, kindness, and real-life community, not a credit card. The greatest course you can ever take is the one called life. And my friend, you have already passed with honors. 9. The hidden cost of buying a brand new car. Let's talk about one of the biggest purchases many of us make, and how it can quietly drain our finances without offering much more in return. Buying a brand new car. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting a comfortable, reliable vehicle, especially in retirement. Safety matters. Comfort matters. But what doesn't always make sense is paying top dollar for something that starts losing value the moment you drive it off the lot. Edith, age 75 from Illinois, had always driven used cars. But when her old sedan finally gave out, she thought, I deserve something new. So she went to the dealership and bought a brand new SUV, fresh off the lot, fully loaded, with monthly payments that made her wince. At first she loved it. The new car smell, the smooth ride, the compliments from friends and neighbors. But over time, reality set in. After just 1 year, her car had already lost more than 30% of its value. Thousands of dollars gone. And because she was now on a tighter budget with those car payments, she found herself cutting back in other areas. No weekend getaways. No spontaneous lunches with friends. just a shiny car sitting in her driveway. Edith eventually traded the car in for a certified pre-owned vehicle, 2 years old, low mileage, still under warranty. She cut her payments in half and used the extra money to take a train trip through the Rocky Mountains, something she had always wanted to do. That trip brought her more joy than any new vehicle ever could. Here's what she learned, and what I've learned too. We don't need to impress anyone anymore. We don't need to chase status. We need peace of mind. And sometimes peace means choosing something practical, simple, and smart. If you're thinking about getting a new car, pause for a moment. Ask yourself what you really need. There are so many reliable, affordable options that let you keep your freedom without sacrificing your financial future. The destination matters so much more than the car that gets you there. A final word. You've made it to the end of our talk, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for giving yourself the time to listen, to reflect, and to gently ask, is there something here I'm ready to let go of? Because letting go isn't about loss. It's about making room for more freedom, more calm, more of the moments that truly matter. The ones that don't come with a price tag, but stay in our hearts forever. Maybe today you saw yourself in Helen or Ruth or Nancy. Maybe a part of their story felt just a little too familiar. If so, know this, you are not alone. We're all figuring this out as we go. And every wise person I've ever known has made a few choices they later outgrew. That's not failure. That's growth. At this stage of life, we're not here to impress. We're here to feel light, to live true, to walk with peace in our hearts and kindness in our hands. So whether it's an old spending habit, a little financial fear, or a belief that no longer serves you, today might just be the perfect time to release it. Let yourself breathe. Let yourself begin again. And now I'd love to hear from you. Was there a moment in today's talk that really spoke to you? A change you're ready to make? Share it in the comments below. Not just for yourself, but for someone else who might need that little spark of courage too. And if this brought you even a small bit of clarity or comfort, I hope you'll pass it on. Send it to a friend, a sister, a neighbor, someone you care about, because this journey, this chapter of life, it's far too precious to walk through alone. Until next time, take gentle care of yourself. Spend wisely. Live freely. And always remember, the most beautiful investment you can make is in the life that still lies ahead.